What's going on, Facebook fam? Harold S. Reed Jr. here, also known as HRJR, your motivational coach. And today is Forget About It Fridays. Today is the day where the live that I post usually could be some foolishness because, hey, forget about it. But I want to actually talk about something that I'm going to use Forget About It Friday, to post about, because I wanted to come across with a good spirit, a good nature. Some people may feel a certain way about it, but then again, some people may feel a certain way about anything I post on any given day. So, excuse me, still fighting the end of this cold. But on today's Forget About It Friday, we're going to talk about parents who allow their children to quit. Now, there are different activities that parents put their children in. Me personally, my son is in karate, has been since he was 7 years old. He's now 14. He's gone to several schools, and we've had some breaks in between those years. So I'd say he probably has, if we compiled all the time that he's actually been training, were it consistently, it would probably be a solid 6 years. Because again, we did take some time off in between schools, and we had to deal with COVID and that whole nonsense. So anyway, like I said, he's in karate, and there are times that he doesn't feel like doing it. I get it. However, one thing I will never allow him to do is quit. See, and me being one, I've not only been a student of the martial arts myself, but I've also worked in the martial arts industry, managing a school and assistant teaching and so on and so forth. So I've seen time and again where parents, and the funny thing is, my son's instructor put up somebody else, he reposted something somebody else said earlier, which kind of led me to want to talk about this today. And what it said was, parents bring their children to karate saying they want to teach their children discipline, and then a couple months later, they come in talking about their kid wants to quit because it's too hard, and they want to let them. That's the problem right there. That's why I said in the title of this video, parents should not raise punks. Because what parents don't you know what, I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to keep it 100% with you. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Turn this heat down a little bit. Parents don't raise punks. Parents be the punks that create punks. I said it. And now let me expound on it. When a child comes to an adult and the child says, I want to quit. Now, nobody's abusing the child, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, t-ball, karate, ballet, jazz, tap, gymnastics, swimming, whatever. At some point in time, in order for that child or those children to reach their next level in the course of their training, they're going to have to endure some struggle. The workouts are going to get difficult, but they're not impossible. Muscles will be taxed. I remember the school that we're at now and we're most happy with now, Justin's first day, class was about, 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. And when that boy came home, he was out for the rest of the weekend. Not the rest of the day. Not I took him to class Saturday morning, and he was out for the rest of Saturday afternoon. No, he was out the rest of Saturday afternoon. He was out all day Sunday. and then came home from school and was out the rest of Monday. And I loved it. And he likes it too. But there are times when he would rather not go to class. I know this. He doesn't have to tell me. And my kid is kind of a people pleaser of sorts. So he won't necessarily come out and say, I don't want to go. But I can read him. And when I get those vibes that he doesn't want to go, I sit him down and we talk about it. But the one thing that's not an option is him being allowed to quit. So I'm going to go back to what I was saying. When a child goes to an adult, when a child goes to his or her parent and says, it's too hard, I want to quit, and that parent allows that child to quit, what that parent is actually doing, they don't give a damn about their kid's development in that context. Because they're paying $100, $150 a month or whatever it is for the lessons, the classes, the practices, the private teacher, whatever the case may be. And when the child comes along and says, I want to quit, I don't want to do this anymore, the parent isn't thinking about that child's development. The parent is thinking about how much money they're going to save every month not paying for that child to learn whatever activity they got that child in. And so, because the parent is actually looking out for their own pocketbook rather than their own child's development, they begin to pretend to be their child's advocate, when in fact they're using their child as a shield. I've been in conferences and I've had parents come to me when I was managing a karate school, when I was assistant teaching. I've had parents come to me and tell me, oh, well, I'm making up a name now, so don't act like they know who I'm talking about, because I'm pulling a name out of my butt. Little Billy, you can always find a Billy somewhere. Little Billy says that, he's not really enjoying himself. He's not having fun. Meanwhile, in class, little Billy's having the time of his damn life, except when the time comes to do calisthenics at the start of class or at the end of class, or when there's a new skill being taught and he's not catching it, or the daughter, Billy, could be a little girl too. Could be Billy with a Y, Billy with an I, right? But little Billy, whoever he, she, they may be, they're encountering difficulties in the training that they lack the confidence to attack face on. So what they do is they go to their refuge. Their refuge is their parents. And they go to their parents and they say, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not having any fun anymore. I just want to quit. And then the parent, like I said, starts thinking about, how much money they're going to save if they, in fact, pull their kid out of this activity. So then the parent goes to the karate school or the basketball coach or the swim teacher or the golf coach or whoever, and they say, little Billy's not enjoying himself. Little Billy's not getting anything out of this activity, so I'm going to pull little Billy out. Now, I don't own a school, but if I did own a school, because people have asked me if I plan on opening up a martial arts school of my own one day, and I'm honest to God, I'm not. I'll help Lil Deuce if he wants to. If my son wants to, I'll help him get one started. But that chapter is behind me. But if I were to own a school, and a parent comes to me talking about their child wants to quit because their child's not getting anything out of the program, yet my observation of that child says the exact opposite. My observation of that child says that child needs to be motivated, not just on the mat in the dojo, but also at home. I'm going to have a problem with that parent. But here's the thing. All money ain't good money, so I just as soon let that parent go. Because it's not so much about the kid wanting to quit. If the parent is the type of person who would allow their child to quit, if the parent is the type of person who would not push their child to put forth their best effort, if the parent is not the type of person to be intuitive enough to know when their child is faking the funk to get out of just being responsible, then not only do I would still want that child, but the problem is I don't want that parent, because that parent would be infectious to the other parents. Because don't get it twisted, parents communicate. I know y'all. I'm one of them. And parents communicate away from the karate school, away from the dance studio, away from the swimming pool, away from the tennis court, the golf course, whatever it is. Right? So if you're going to allow your child to quit, if I was the instructor, I'd let you take your child out. And I would apologize to the child. I'd just say, I'm sorry. And the reality is, I'm not saying I'm sorry because of anything I've done, but y'all would think that. I'm saying I'm sorry for the parent that you have, because you got a sorry-ass parent. Any parent that would allow their child to quit just because it's hard. Any parent that would allow their child to quit just because they have yet to master a skill set. Any parent that will allow their child to quit just because the coach or the instructor is hard on them, pushing them to go further than where they presently are. Any parent who takes offense to that and allows their child to quit, I'm saying it to your face, you're a pussy. And not in the sense that the vagina is one of the strongest, most powerful muscles in the human female body. I'm saying pussy in the sense that you're soft and moist. And that's what you're going to raise your children to be. If you allow your children to quit just because things get rough, if you allow your children to quit just because they haven't mastered a particular skill set that they just started, if you allow your kids to quit, if you allow your kid to quit because the instructor was being hard on them, but not as hard as that world out there is waiting for their asses to come out into, but you allow your kid to quit, then you deserve a soft, weak-ass child who will grow up to be a soft, weak-ass person. Because if you allow that child at 10, 11 years old or even younger, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, you allow that child to quit that, what else are you going to allow them to quit? What else are you going to allow them to walk away from? When, if ever, are you going to step up and put your foot down and tell them they need to learn some stick-to-itiveness and deal with what they got going on in the moment? If you allow your children to quit, how can they ever learn how to win? You too busy making quitting an accessible, available option. And if quitting is an acceptable, available option, then they're never going to learn what success is. Because success exists on the other side of your comfort zone. So if you can't get through your comfort zone, see, when you sit in your comfort zone, you're comfortable. When you sit in the comfort zone, when you look at me in my car. If this car was my comfort zone, I'm good, right? I'm good. But if there's a bag of money sitting over there somewhere, I got to get out this car. What if I'm locked in? It's going to be more difficult to get out the car. Well, if I got to bang a window out, if I got to kick a window out, if I got to punch my way out somehow, and it's not going to be easy, might get cut up, beat up, scraped up, or bruised, but I'm going to go get that bag of money, because when I get that bag of money, I can fix all this. So that's what I'm saying. Success is on the other side of your comfort zone. So if you allow your kid to just sit and stay in that comfort zone, you deserve whatever type of punk-ass child or punk-ass person that punk-ass child grows into. And it's not that child's fault. It's not that man's fault. It's not that woman's fault. If your child grows up to be a punk-ass man or woman that quits anytime and every time things get rough, that's on you. You raised the coward. Because when that child didn't know any better and was looking to you for leadership and encouragement and motivation, even though they couldn't articulate it because they were too young and not mature enough to be able to articulate it. As the adult, as the parent, you should know that that's what they need. And you should know that even though they're not going to like that response, they might not be happy with you because you gave them that response, because you made your child stick to it and fight through it and get to the other side, because you wanted to save a couple bucks, or you wanted to look cool in your kid's eyes. So you go to that instructor or that coach or whatever, and you say, my kid wants to quit and I always got my kids back. And then you go back and tell that kid that you did him or her a favor and you had their back because you let them quit. You are full of #warning, I cuss shit. Woo. I thought it was going to be some foolishness, but that strikes a chord in me. So I see some comments up in there, but I'm not going to address them now because I just want to get through this. I'm going to work on having something for every day of the week. Well, excluding Saturday and Sunday. So moving forward, there'll be Motivation Mondays. We just talk about motivation, inspiration. Tell them about it Tuesdays, where we just get into something funky. We gonna be all right Wednesdays that have to do with healing. Thankful Thursdays, we're going to talk about having an attitude of gratitude. And Forget About It Friday, where we generally get into some foolishness. But I guess with today's inaugural Forget About It Friday, I wanted to touch on something that had some meaning to me, but didn't apply to the other days of the week, or could have, but did. Anyway. So listen, if you have a child who is involved in an extracurricular activity, whatever it is, if it gets hard, look at that as a good thing, because that's the only way your child is going to get better. That's the only way your child is going to get better. But if you just have your kid in an activity to get the kid out of your hair for a couple hours, you already doing the kid a disservice right then and there, because you don't care about the child's development in that activity, because your motives for putting the child in that activity wasn't for the child to develop better skills in that activity or any activity. Your motive was to get the kid out of your hair for an hour or so. And if that's your real intention, when the child come to you and say the child want to quit, and you start thinking about, oh, well, you know what? I'll have to figure out something else to do with the time, but at least I'll be saving $100, $150 a month. So yeah, I'm going to go let my child quit. In my book, in my opinion, and I tell you right now, you don't have to value my opinion, because I don't place value in opinions. I just express them and release them in the air like a fart in the wind. But in my opinion, if that's the kind of parent you are, you suck. If you take offense to that, feel free to unfriend me. Feel free to block me. I don't care. Because I got my child in an activity, and I've had my child come to me and tell me things are hard, or he has, he's having second thoughts about staying in or doing whatever, and I don't allow him to quit. Period. I don't allow him to quit. He can quit whatever he wants when he's paying his own bills. When he's living in his own house, under his own roof, paying his own bills, whatever he want to quit in life is entirely up to him. But as long as I'm responsible for guiding him and showing him how he's supposed to move in a room full of vultures, i.e. this world, then quitting is not on the menu. Quitting is not on the itinerary. Quitting is not on the schedule. Quitting is not an option.